prevent the pirates, if that's who was in the vessel we had seen a long way behind, from knowing where we had gone. My last sight of the dim shape had been inconclusive, but I was pretty certain that it was a large vessel of some sort. Meanwhile, there wasn't much of a moon, so I was sure we couldn't easily be seen where we had anchored. There wasn't the same banter of the previous evening, when we had our tails up and escape looked likely. Instead, we talked more seriously. Annie asked me how I got into journalism. "I got expelled," I said. "Oh my God, from school? What happened?" "St. Jude's was run by Jesuits, the SAS of the Catholic Church. No sense of humour. One time a condom was found dangling from the outstretched hand of a statue of the Virgin Mary in the Assembly Hall. Someone dobbed me in." "That's gross," Annie said, her nose wrinkling. I'd forgotten she was a bit religious. "In my defence, it was not a used one." "Oh, well, that's all right then," she said with heavy sarcasm. "But how did that lead you to newspapers?" "My father knew someone at the local paper, the Sans Souci Sentinel. English had been the only thing I was good at. It turned out to be a good fit. I spent 4 years there. Flower shows, council meetings, the odd bit of petty crime, you know, the sort of thing." "Then what?" "Then I met Percy Mims. He was my boss at the Sunday World in Sydney. I told you about him, remember?" "Yes, of course. Martin used to read the Sunday World. Bit of a scandal cheat, isn't it?" "Yeah, but also a highly professional operation. Percy had been a top guy in Fleet Street, and he turned me into a gun tabloid reporter. I owe my career to him, and a lot else besides. Later he set me up in London, and tipped me off to the scoop that led to the book and the film. I remember him once warning me, "Watch out, son. It's jugular journalism over there. They'd sell their granny for a wee showbiz exclusive." I said it in an exaggerated Scottish accent. "Ah, yes, the book. Haven't had a chance to read it yet. So it's a story you did at the Tribune? I used to read that at the office. So what was it about, this famous scoop of yours?" "Well," I said, "are you sitting comfortably?" I told her about how Percy had tipped me off about a politician that he had tried and failed to nail some years earlier, when he had worked in London. The member for Letcham in the Cotswolds, James St. John Carmichael, and his wife Josephine were an odious couple, media tarts who had slimed and sleazed their way into the public consciousness via C-list appearances on TV and radio talk shows and comedy panel progs like Have I Got News for You? They claimed to be committed Christians just like you, I smiled at Annie. They were the very stuff Sunday tabloids are made of. One of Percy's sources had told him that the couple had been regularly attending swingers parties in the suburbs. He had made cautious inquiries, but soon found himself on the wrong end of a tersely worded exo set from the couple's lawyers. His editor took fright and told Percy to back off. I went on to tell her that by the time I started at the Trib some years later, the Lech from Letcham, as he later became known by the tabloids, had become Junior Minister for Defence Procurement in the government. His promotion had not deterred the couple from their relentless pursuit of celebrity, or, as it turned out, their swinging lifestyle. "Maybe it's time you took another look at yon wee shites," Percy had suggested. So I did. For the next 7 weeks I worked the story, researching them at night and spending my days off on their trail. Bit by bit, I established beyond legal doubt that Josie and her charmless husband were indeed enthusiastic swingers. Incredibly, their swinger names were Josephine and Bonaparte. "You have got to be kidding!" Annie's eyes went wide at that. I told her that some of the parties involved drugs, underage girls and rent boys. So far it was just another standard red-top tabloid story that might make a spread in the Sunday edition. But what turned it into a major scoop that brought the government down was this. Bonaparte had persuaded 2 cabinet ministers, including the Education Secretary, to join their sordid little